2019 April Contamana, Peru mission, we flew over the Andes Mountains to get to Pucallpa from Lima. The jungle below reveals the river winding its way. Greg Causey and I sat near each other, had some really good seats on that remodeled airplane to Pucallpa. This is Wilson Navarro, translator. We all got together in Pucallpa at Norquis and had a meal together. Joe took very good care of us. Here we have James McElroy and Jose, and Ruben Farrell, and Joe and Jose and Ruben. We flew the next day while most everyone else took the boat. Three of us, James McElroy, Greg Causey, and Chuck King, flew in this small plane. It was very comfortable and a nice flight, only half-hour flight to Contamana. We enjoyed it together, and the boat ride took about 6 hours. I didn't have a lot of leg room, but it wasn't too bad, sitting right behind the pilot. Everyone arrived in Contamana, and you can see some of the sights of the town here. It's a town of about 25,000 people. In many ways it's poor, yet they have modern things in their culture that we didn't lack. We could get anything really that we wanted. Giancarlos was a big help on everything on this trip. Again, you see James and Giancarlos and one of his brothers who help him. Giancarlos leading worship the first night that we arrived. We had a good meeting, probably 100 adults. Throughout the time we were there were probably close to 200 children at times as well. John Mortimer and James McElroy sharing the word in the first evening session. All the people responded. Nearly 40 people came to Christ. Jose did a lot of work for us, always does. He was there to coordinate the services. And you can see here we started off the morning meetings. We had 6 sessions a day, and that was Eric and our translator, and then Greg shared, and I shared too in those morning services. People responded and prayed prayers of repentance throughout the entire week. And many of the workers were working with the kids out back in the yard behind the building we met in, and you can see the joy on the faces of the children as the team members ministered powerfully to them. They had a very good week together with the children. And they responded to the games and the treats and the Bible lessons they received from these team members who worked very hard. It's a joy to see children so excited, and they began to get very close to them. Here you see Ruben sharing a message on the armor of God, and he actually had brought in some of these armor outfits, and the children enjoyed them. Then the teaching sessions continued every morning and afternoon. The people were so open, and it's hard to imagine how people in the United States would respond having 6 teachings and a preaching service each day of the time that we were together in the Congresso. John Mortimer and Greg Causey in the evening service the second night. People coming, seeking the Lord, wanting help, wanting to change. A lot of prayer around the altars. People hungry for God. They come from a number of different villages, and they are so willing to take back the teachings that we gave them to their villages and their families and their friends. And that was the theme of the conference: take what you learned back to your village, your family, and your friends. And so we began another day with the same basic schedule. Eric taught really fine messages, and I had an opportunity to also teach and preach on the house church planting and discipleship multiplication. And at least 10 of these pastors came forward saying they wanted to plant house churches in their villages, and the other people were backing them by standing and supporting that. More pictures about the children's ministry. There's Roy Rogers and Juan. They're good buddies. Reuben again with one of the children. More Armor of God pictures, which I'm sure they were absolutely thrilled with. You see a big gang of them there under a tarp. We had fairly good weather. It rained hard one day and kind of gave us some problems, but most of the days it didn't rain very much. The brothers and sisters really partnered to make this a good experience for the children. Just sharing some photos that some of the folks took about their work with the kids. There's Juan and Giancarlo's good brothers here in Peru. And so we began the last day of the meetings, and we had the same schedule again. 3 teachings in the morning, 3 teachings after lunch, and 1 evening service. And so they came over and over again when we invited them to pray, to seek the Lord, to grow in the grace of God. And all the teachings really supported one another. And these have come because they robbed God, and they're admitting it, and they're seeking the Lord. Some pictures of the river there, Contamana. John caught a snake, an anaconda, while he was out dedicating a church. Here's Brother Victor. He is one of the pastors here in Contamana. Brother James with some of the more ethnic clothed ladies. Joe Mercer, thank Joe for everything. Then James and Greg and I, while the other team members rode the boat back for 7 hours, we waited until the plane came to get us at Contamana and flew our less than 30-minute flight back in the same plane that we came on. The river is still high, a lot of flooding along the river. See the winding Ucayali River, that the same river they took the boats up and down to get to Contamana. Then we were in Pucallpa and shared a number of hours at a mall to kill time and say our last goodbyes to our good friends, our dear friends, Roger and Tirza, and our Pucallpan team members. We got on the plane again back to Lima and had a nice flight home. Didn't get back there to Lima until about midnight, and we spent the next day before coming home. Thank you.